go now. Good morning, everyone, and today we're going to catch up with Garstang FC Chairman Adrian Wilding. Good morning, Adrian.
Morning, Mark.
So just a quick chat with you to let people know where we're at and what we're up to. But first of all, I know you're the chairman of the club, but you also do other roles. It's just what goes on at the club and what's your role within everything.
Okay. Well, firstly, can I offer a belated Happy New Year to everybody? Hopefully, this season and this year will be better than last year. It's not set off brilliant, but hopefully we can only hope that things will improve. And can I just take this opportunity to thank all the sponsors who, without their support over these difficult times, the club will be seriously struggling to carry on. And obviously everybody involved with the club spectators. What does the role involve? Well, as you know, I'm chairman of the club, but Garstang Football Club, like probably many football clubs, isn't normal, really, is a word I would have thought. We all struggle for people to help. So everybody muckles in with everybody. So a normal chairman role, I would have thought, is like the figurehead, meant to lead the club, put ideas forward, manage plans and motivate people. But in my role, I just see me as part of the old team, to be honest, whether that be the off-field team or the management team. And I just like to, I try to bring everybody together as one family to all work together. So I get involved really in most things, like probably you do, Mark, and the rest of the management committee. And we're probably fortunate that everybody involved with Garstang does try and muckle in and do everything. So a day-to-day, week-to-week, you could be planning nothing to do, and then suddenly you get an email off the league that needs urgent attention because they tend to want to know pretty quick. So then you might start doing that. There might be a player issue that your manager need help with. There might be a ground issue that would come to me, and then I have to speak to whoever and try and sort it. So it's just everything, really. Like I say, I'm fortunate that I've got good people around us that will muckle in. And if I'm not about, the job still gets done. I think you've asked me in the past. I don't know how we managed to get through the season, to be honest. At times I think that, but we do. Everybody just muckles in, don't they? And I think that's a great thing about our club, probably same as other clubs as well. But you've just all got to work together. I suppose the role in my side, what probably isn't the nice bit, and I end up with it, is I get probably the bad bits, i.e. if we have to part company, unfortunately, with a manager, or if there's a discipline issue, ultimately the buck stops with me. And when we have our committee meetings and the decisions made, I'm the one who's got to do the horrible bits. So I suppose that's a chairman's job. But I suppose in saying that, you get the bits where if you win something, you get a pat on the back like everybody does. And sometimes a manager might let you go up and pick a trophy. But you've got to be lucky if that happens, to be honest. And you're not winning trophies all the time. So there's goods and bad bits, really, but you take it as it is. You know that when you take the job on. And I suppose my thing, I look at it that it's a pleasure and I'm fortunate to be Garstang chairman. Sometimes I think, I'm not sure about that, but overall, it's been good to lead the club over the last few years.
You're not just the chairman, you're not just the chairman, are you, as well? You do secretarial stuff, like you say, you do stuff down the ground, signing, registering players. You know, there's a lot more, isn't there, that you do behind the scenes that takes up a lot of your time.
Yeah, my wife will tell you it takes up more time than it should do, to be honest. Unfortunately, or fortunately for the club, I'm probably one of the worst delegators there is. And I just find it a lot of time, and that's no disrespect to anybody involved with the club. I just find sometimes it's a lot quicker just to get on and do it, and then it's done. And I'm fortunate that I have got some time to do it. I'm not committed to a 9-to-5 job like most other people are involved in the club. You know, Claire's the club secretary, but she works every single day. So sometimes things come through, and if I have time, I'll just do them to help Claire out. Likewise, something might come that involves yourself as treasurer. If I have time to do it, sometimes it's just nice to do it. Sometimes that backfires on me because people say, well, why have you done that? I meant to do that. But yeah, I don't mind getting muckled in and doing things. Sometimes if you don't get done, do they? And again, that's no disrespect. It's down to people working and that. I think if I was still in the full-time garage business, I possibly would struggle to do what I do, and I would then have to delegate it. But I am a rubbish delegator. I always have been. It'll never alter. That's just the way it is. So I suppose the club gains possibly with that, or in saying that the club might not gain because it might be detrimental to stopping people shining.
Yeah, no, we are. We do have 3 teams currently split across 3 different leagues, don't we, which have different rules, different regulations that come out, different signing on things, etc.
Yeah, we do. As you know, the first team now plays in the counties. That was a big decision for us as a club to make, to move to the counties, not only financially, but people-wise, because there's more jobs to do. But as you rightly say, rather when we were in the West Lancs, 2 teams come under one league, go to one meeting, both teams are covered, and then you then the youth team meetings to go to. But now with the counties, the West Lancs, and the youth, so they all take time up, which majority of times I go to the meetings, which I don't mind because you meet people and find out things. But it does cause major work, to be honest. Not just for me, but for everybody, because you're dealing with 3 different bodies. And with the first team being in the counties, it is an higher level. So there's more rules, I would say, guidelines. There's just more boxes to tick, I suppose. So it's not easy, but it's a decision we took as a club, and one I think was right. And I'd like to think everybody else did. And we've just to get on with it. To be fair, now probably getting settled in. It's a pity this last season's gone, and season before have gone a bit AWOL. But once you get in and you know the systems, it's not so bad. I think you know yourself. And Ryan does and Nick does on the counties. There's a lot more to do on match days than there is in the West Lancs and the youth. Again, if you guys weren't there and there weren't the people helping, would struggle. But you move with everything, and you meet the challenges, don't you? And if we couldn't do it, we wouldn't be there.
Yes, that brings us on to sort of how and why you got sort of involved with the football club.
Well, I could just chuck that straight back at you and Davo and Mr. Dave Willoughby, which, like, Willoughby gets me involved and then jets off to America and never returns. Davo then is very busy and starting a family and leaves, which I understand. So you're stuck. So it's down to you, really. So I could chuck back to you, because you were the guys who persuaded me, probably Willoughby out of most of them. He'll be pleased, won't we, that we mentioned his name.
Yeah, definitely will be.
Ed will be growing as usual, bigger than ever. How are you, Dave? Nice to hear of you now and then. But no, I can't remember exactly when it was. I think I might be wrong, round about 98, would it? 99, he first got me involved. Dave was trying to, I think, was working for me at the time, persuaded me to. Fred Miller was chairman, if I remember, at the time. I think Fred had done a fair few years and was ready for stepping down. So I took up the role, which I was pleased to do, even though you took a bit of talking into it, because at the time I was busy with my work. So I wasn't sure whether committed to it, but you all convinced me, oh, don't worry, Adrian, you won't have a lot to do. We'll do everything, don't worry. Yeah, and here we are now. Things do change. So I fell for that line and sinker. But no, it's been good. I've enjoyed it. I had to step down in probably one of the very successful seasons of the club because of work commitments. But all you guys stayed on, and Andy Harkins took over the chairman's job, probably unofficially or officially. I'm not 100% sure whether he was voted in, but he did a remarkable job. And during that year, Gaz and Scott led the team to winning the Premier League after only being there. What would it be? The third season, I think. Because I think the year we got Gaz to come in and Scott, they kept us up Following year, you went up. Then I'd stepped down for it, and I missed one of the successful years. But I was really chuffed when it was Dave rung me to come and join your celebrations for winning after you won the league. But yeah, that was good. And then I got talked in, I think, following year maybe. I think things had changed at work, and I think I got asked to come back. And I persuaded Les Taylor, who had been ex-commercial manager at Morecambe, Lancaster, Fleetwood, Blackpool as well, to join and help try and move the club forward, and try and get the club financially sound and keep the good work that had been done going. And I think that work, probably if Les hadn't have come with me on that journey, I don't know whether I would have come back, because at the time I was busy at work. And with Les coming with us, it enabled him really to get involved with running the day-to-day of the club and fundraising and setting things up, and allow me to carry on with my work. And it just worked very well for quite a few years. And I think we were very successful at setting up the lottery, etc. And I think we're indebted as a club to Les Taylor for that, and everybody else who helped him. Yeah, people point saying, well, it's down to you, Adrian, but I put it down to other people, to be honest. So they did all the legwork and everything. And I think if it weren't for that initial years, we probably wouldn't be where we are now.
You've had some good memories, have you? What's sort of best memory in terms of being chairman?
I suppose the obvious. Pardon?
We've won some trophies.
We've won some trophies, yeah. But I think the club's won trophies all along. I suppose the obvious, I mentioned one, which I actually wasn't involved in that year, but I felt part of it because I brought Gaz and Scott in, who I thought was tremendous for Garstang Football Club. I think everybody would agree they brought some professionalism to the team and the club and did things different, if all probably too professional, but they did have success. And I actually only saw Gary not long ago in my local pub, Pat, and had a good chat with him. He's not in football now, but he did a great job for the club. So I think even though I wasn't involved that year, I thought that was a memorable time. Sportsman's dinners, they're memorable times. We've had some great dues at them, going to Blackpool Football Club and filling the room with nearly 400 in it. Probably most it's ever been full, that. Certainly more than they get on a match day.
Well, anyone gets at the minute.
Well, yeah, but I was referring to when the fans were allowed. So, no, I think there we had some excellent dues there, and I could go back loads of memories. You know, I remember the one, Jack Charlton, when we had it at the Crofters, at the golf club, and all the Leeds fans, and invited them down the following morning to come and have breakfast. I didn't go myself, but, you know, things like that, I think that's worth doing that, and them lads will remember that forever, and I think they had a great morning with him. I think setting up the lottery, well, not initially setting it up. I remember people saying you'll never get 20 or 30 in it. And when we hit, I think 200, I was like over the moon. So that's a memorable thing. Garstang playing in the FA Vars. That was memorable, going on the coach over in Yorkshire somewhere. And somebody saying, oh, you can put a bet on us, which I never imagined. And a lot of people wouldn't have thought you could put a bet on Garstang with a bookie in a FA game, and then going and winning the game. That was a memorable. And obviously the 2017-18 season, I think it was, when the first team, bar the Lancashire Shield, cleaned up, the reserve team cleaned up. We won Fair Play Awards. We won the Club of the Year in the West Lancs. I think the presentation night will live with me for a long time. That was a great night. Not just for picking the trophies up, but to be there, everybody to be happy. My wife be there, the managers be there, some of the committee members, board members be there with the wives. We just had a good night. And it's times that I think, well, all the hassle and everything, it is worth it. So they're probably the main ones, but I'm sure there's loads of others where we've had good times after a match, and probably had some laughs during the match. So yeah, I think that probably answers that.
Yeah. Obviously, we're in the middle of the coronavirus. It's impacted on all clubs at our level. How's it sort of impacted on us?
Well, the main impact is we haven't been playing football. So the lads haven't been able to play. For a club, it's impacted on finances. But in saying that, we have been very fortunate. I think nearly all were sponsors have carried on supporting us, which is absolutely brilliant, especially considering a lot of them are small firms or local firms around the Garstang area. It proves the community strength. And like I say, I can only thank them for keeping supporting us, because it could have been very easy just say, I'm sorry, Garstang FC, we can't pay that this year. We'll look again this year. So I deeply thank all them on behalf of the club. So we've been fortunate in that way. Also, because we've run the club right, we've got our finances. I've always said, when we've moved up into the counties or we've done things, we must make sure the groundwork's right. You know, the blocks are in place. There's no point just jumping and going. Too many teams, too many clubs play and work where without outside the financial means. So I've always said, let's make sure we've got a base. So we've gone into the coronavirus. Yes, we've not had as much money coming in, but we had a bit of meat on us, or fur, whatever you want to call it, to get us through it so far. It's not easy, but it's hard, isn't it? It's caused a lot of extra work for people. Like Dave Graham doing all the health and safety and all the things we have to stick to, derivatives, etc., etc. Some leagues change to others. The youth's different to the adults. So doing all that, and then all the extra work everybody's had to do, putting signs up, cleaning on match days, everything. It's been hard work. And then on top of that, you've got the stress of going to the matches thinking, right, they can't do that. He can't do that. They can't touch that. And unfortunately, the excitement of things, people forget, and it's hard work. I don't think we've been helped by a lot of things by people saying we've to play. People will disagree on this. I think really we should have probably just made a decision and stopped playing and get over it. We're still now in limbo. We don't know whether the season's going to start, whether it's finished, whether it's going to be null and void, whether we'll carry on in August. To me, a decision just needs to be made, and then everybody knows where we stand. But as a club, we'll be all right. Yes, we'll have been impacted and hurt by it, but we've just got to get on. I think your spectators as well, they've suffered, haven't they? Because they haven't been able to come and watch football. Financially, we've suffered. We could have had a massive payday when we played Bury. We could have potentially had 1,000 people at the ground, which had been great again for Garstang. It had helped all the businesses in the high street, whereas we had to play to a limit of 300, was it?
Yeah, 300.
300 people, and none of the establishment business in Garstang got benefit of majority of them being Bury fans, who normally would have spent quite a lot of money. So the local towns lost out as well, not only the club, but we're not on our own with that. All the other clubs are the same. We've just to hope we get over it and we get back playing football again, because that's what we're here to do, innit?
Yeah. That is, other than the aim of playing football again, what sort of are the club's objectives going forward?
Be careful what I say here, aren't I? Recorded and in video or whatever for live. The number one for me priority is the club has to be stable and financially okay to do anything. So that's the number one. So we have to make sure we're financially okay to support the three teams we've got. If we haven't, something has to give. I would like us, that's both on and off the field. We need to stabilise in the counties and get competing on a regular basis near the top of the league. If we can go up, brilliant. And if we can financially support that to go up, because there's more cost, obviously we will do that. But a lot depends on the climate and the businesses and people supporting us. If we ain't got the support of the local, then we can't do that. But firstly, we need to get a stabilised, steady team, steady management, in place, which we have now, and hopefully that will continue, but you never know, and just stabilise on the football, get the reserves competing up at the top and supporting the first team, and as we've done for many years now, bring youth lads through to hopefully get playing in the reserves and first team. And to me, like a lot, that's great to see some of the young ones coming through. So we need to do that as a number one. I think then we need to look at improving facilities. We've had plans passed for a stand, plus other bits, but if I'd love to see us get that stand up, that would be something that from day one I've always wanted to try and do. But again, we have to have the funds and the support from local companies to establish and do that, which we're working on that. Whether it'll happen, we've been put back with COVID. Like I said, if we can go up, I think that would be great into the Premier League. Whether then we can go any further, who knows? I think possibly it'd need a big injection of funds and different. We're probably at where with what people we've got involved, etc. We're probably at where we're at now, and I think if we can get into the Prem like Longridge have done, but on our way, I think would be great. The other thing I'd like to do, which we haven't really pushed yet and tried to get behind, I'd like to try and get the attendances up, get more people locally coming to watch, because the standard of football is very good. Well, most of the time it is. We do have off days, but I think we are very good compared to a lot of teams. We go and watch a lot of teams and there could be only like 15, 20 people. We get an hardcore probably 80 to 100 as a minimum, whether it's first team or reserves. I think first team sometimes get more depending on we're playing. I think we're roughly around 80 to 100 of hardcore people, and it's the same people who come all the time. I'd like to see try and increase that to try and get like 200 people on a regular basis, because Garstang's growing all the time, and I don't think it's unachievable. People will laugh and say it's not. I think it's achievable. We probably just need to put ourselves out there a bit more. I'm not just sure how we persuade people to come, but that'd be nice just to see more people there. And it financially helps us, but it's not just about the money. It's just people would enjoy it because we play good football and they can have a laugh. So I think that'd be nice to try and do. And I'd like to get back to us having another sportsman's do or something, get together, getting local people together. And my final thing, and it's probably a request as well or plead, I'd like to see a lot more of the ex-Garstang players coming watching us, or trying to get involved at least, or coming watching us. We seem to don't get as many as we used to for some reason. I don't know why that is. Probably because they're growing up and they're getting families and everything. But it'd just be nice to see some of the older players who've been with us and had plenty of good times. And to that end, I'd like, when we are allowed to all get together, we'd mention it to organise a ex-players evening social and get a lot of pictures up on the wall and people walk around and have a chat and everything. I think that'd be good. But ultimately, we need to, as a club, stabilise on and off the field so we can be here in another 20 years.
Brilliant.
And finally, find somebody to take over from me eventually in the next 4 or 5 years. There you go, laughing.
I thought you was going to say you wanted me to have one more season then.
Well, you?
Yeah.
What, playing?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we have set up the walking football team. Don't think it was initially set up for the likes of you, Mark, but I'm waiting to see you turning out for that. But I think pride's not letting you at the moment. I heard a rumour you saying you weren't old enough, but you don't need to be old for that. But I'm sure if you speak to Richard about playing for the first team again, he'll say no. You go and ask Huey, he might say no as well. But who knows? I see you keep running, Mark, so you should be fit enough.
I doubt it. Right.
We might be better getting your Tony back.
No, he's done. He's done,
is he?
Right. Thanks very much, Adrian.
No problem. I hope that's all right.